Hi everyone, I'm Saleha and this is Chai, Chat and Community. Tonight, I'm chatting about women in IT and women entrepreneurship. Did you know that in Australia, only 11.8% of software engineers are women? And one of them is my guest tonight, Aishwarya Smridhi. Aishwarya, who I call Ash, has developed a new technology to detect emergency situations like falls and long term health issues for the elderly. And to tell us more about this new technology, meet Ash. Hi, Ash,
Hi,
and thank you for coming to the show. I'm very excited.
it's a pleasure.
So, tell me something about yourself, Ash.
Yeah, as you said, my name is Ash. I am from a small town in Jharkhand. It's called Hazaribagh. Really
In
beautiful.
India.
In India, yes. Growing up, everyone in my family was really good at studies, but I turned out to be a bit of a daydreamer. I had a habit of slipping away into my own world,
Which is
and
good. Dreaming is good.
dreaming is good now, I know that, but at the time it affected my grades a lot. And even though, and obviously, the way my family thought of handling that was by hitting me, but that only made me more scared and more and less confident in. And so everyone around me thought I was not very smart until and that obviously affected my self confidence a lot. So until I met my chemistry teacher, uh, who for some reason really believed in me and really believed in my ability to learn. She used to come after after classes and check if I was okay, ask me questions, answer my questions, go out of her way to make me feel comfortable, come before exams and say everything is going to be okay. And all of this resulted in me working harder, uh, working harder to meet her expectations. So this this obviously was the turning point in my life, and this
You
is who.
forgot that you were a state topper? From failing exams to being a state topper?
Yeah, so that also happened. I couldn't believe it myself, but I was the state topper in standard 12 boards, which is a big deal in India.
Which is a
And
big deal everywhere.
yeah, everybody was really shocked. I still remember that I went
Ash,
to.
Ash will say everybody was surprised.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
this is not shocking. This is a beautiful surprise.
yeah. I remember I went to my English teacher, and in India, you touch their feet and get their blessings, right? So I went to her, and I touched her feet, and she said, "How much marks did you get?" And I said, 96. And she turned to her colleagues, and she was like, "See, this kid got 96. This is the kind of marking they're doing." And I was really dumbstruck. I moved away from
That's
there.
shocking, and that's shocking. That is what an educator is saying. That is shocking.
Yeah, and it just tells you that everybody, society, knowingly or unknowingly, makes you feel worth less than you are.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the point when I realized that confidence is everything. So you just have to keep going.
And good on
Yeah.
you, and good on you for doing that. And so,
Yeah. I also wanted to say that these experiences stay with you forever.
of
So
course they will.
for an example, a few years back, I was at Crown, and for people who don't know, Crown is one of the biggest hotels in Australia. I was in this extravagant suite at Crown, looking at myself in the mirror, and thinking that in few hours I'm supposed to go on stage and demonstrate this awesome feature that I've built to CEO level executives. And I was just thinking that I am just that little girl who who fails in every subject. How am I supposed to go on stage and do that? So yeah, that really stays with you forever.
And so what did you do?
Well, I got onto the stage. I was shaking, and I remember one of my clients uh, came up. She came up to me and she said, you're going to do fine." And that reminded me of my chemistry teacher immediately. Um, so I went on the stage and I just went through it one step at a time, and it was fine at the end. I was just overthinking it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand, self-confidence is everything, just believing in yourself. So from Hazaribagh to Melbourne, tell us your journey, tell me your journey.
Yeah. So Hazaribagh to Melbourne, right? That's right. So I got into IT. Well, I wrote my first program in Visual Basic, and I was hooked. I realized that programming is something that I understood really well. There is something beautiful about creating a whole world out of just your imagination. So once I knew that I was getting into IT, I applied for my bachelor's in Bangalore, which was a real step up from where I was before and required a lot of adjustment. Um, after my IT, after my bachelor's course, I studied. Sorry, I joined a multinational company in India, as everyone does. Um, Worked there for about a year. They were paying about 12,000 rupees, which was barely covering my
Rent
rent,
and living, yes, yes.
rent and living. So that's when I realized that prospect for someone like me wasn't very great. Like in a couple of years, maybe that 12,000 will get to 30,000 or 50,000, but it was around that. It wasn't going to go much up and down. And there's also opportunities to go on site, but I am an introvert and networking was really difficult for me. So that was not I didn't think that that was an option for me. And that was about the time when I realized something important about myself as well. I realized that I like girls romantically, and I'm gay. So knowing that my partner was going to be a girl and we were both gonna be underpaid for ages, I knew that I had to work harder and grab every opportunity that I could. So I moved. I tried to move. I The only way I could think of was by doing my master's, and applied to several different universities in Australia. Melbourne is obviously a really good place to live, as you know.
Yes.
Um, and so the competition was between Mel Uni and Monash offered me a really good scholarship, which I really needed. So I joined Monash. Struggled a bit during my student life, as any student here can probably
Yes,
uh,
international students, yes.
yeah. Had to do a few part-time jobs. Almost got kicked out of accommodation a couple of times because I was late in rent
Paying your
payment.
rent, yes.
Got admitted to the hospital twice because I was overworked
Wow,
and fatigued.
wow.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a journey, but at the end, it was all worth it because it gave me new perspective and new experience. And now I knew how to rely on myself to live in this world. You know, because as women, you are taught to follow, not to lead. So it has to be a journey to understand how to be financially responsible for yourself and your family. So yeah, that's what Melbourne gave me.
As she also told me that you traveled for 2 hours to work each way.
Yeah, yeah, that was the only job I could get. So I was working as a waitress in a restaurant, yeah, and so in the morning I used to go to cafes, to work at a cafe, and then I used to attend classes, and then I used to get on the train, study during the train ride, because that was the only time I could find to study, and go for the evening shift at the restaurant, leave there around 12 o'clock, get on the train again, and again get my laptop out, study on the train, and then eventually go to sleep at 1 or 2 a.m. every day.
Wow.
I think that's why I was admitted in the hospital.
And you did this for 2 years?
Yeah.
Hats off to you.
Well, I think everyone has to do this.
Why IT, Ash? Why did you choose IT? Because in India, we only talk about, not in India, I mean, as Asians, all we know is doctors, engineers, and lawyers.
Yeah, that was certainly the expectation.
Yeah.
Not for me. I think for me, people thought they would get me married because I wasn't very smart. So, but and well, over time, I did get quite other subjects got interesting to me as well. Became interesting, like chemistry and physics. But at the end, as I said, there is something really, really beautiful about creating a software, a product that so many people are going to use out of nothing, right? Just ideas, just out of pure imagination, and it evolves so fast. Like technology, we are making some groundbreaking products
Yep.
it's and everything is growing at a pace which is very hard to catch, which is another reason why we need more women in IT,
I agree. Yes.
because we are building all these products for all these people, so we need different perspective, we
Yes.
need different ages perspective, we need perspective from different cultures, different genders, different sexual orientations. We need all of those things to put it and make a product that caters to all these people. Otherwise it's just like, do you really want Alexa to never understand your accent? No.
We have a problem there, don't we?
Yeah.
The car never understands our accent. GPS is short all the time.
Yeah.
What did you specialize in, Ash?
Yeah. So a lot of women in IT go in business or UX or things around engineering. And even in engineering, there is network engineers who deal with networking. I won't go in detail there.
Yeah.
And system engineer, I decided that I want to create beautiful products, right? So I specialize a bit in all of them. So I'm a full stack engineer, and I do a bit of front end design, back end engineering.
Okay, can I stop you there? I
Yeah.
am an IT idiot. So
Yeah.
explain to me front end and back end designs, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically when you go on a site, right?
Yep.
The things you see and
Yeah.
how they are engineered, what you see is front end, right? So deciding what goes where, what layouts to use and all that, that's front end. Back end is once you put your information in a form, where does that go? Where does that sit? How does that interact with whatever is on the screen? That's back end. So, and a bit of DevOps is collecting all of these things and putting it in a place where the whole of internet can access it. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So it's called DevOps. Okay. Yeah, I learned something new. What else did you do? Yes. What you said you did all different types of IT. So
Yeah, and
yes, you did front end, back end, and DevOps. Yes. Now I know
yeah.
DevOps.
And a bit of so understanding security is a part of it, so a bit of network. Obviously all of these things have a vast field and people who specialize in them a lot, but as full stack engineers we know bits and pieces enough to create a beautiful product. Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. So can you tell me what you're doing?
Yes.
Yes, because you're an entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Before that, Ash, I'm going to ask you to tell me about your first job, and and then to where you are now, before I actually ask you, because I'm hoping that my listeners are going to benefit from what you're sharing, because it's amazing.
Okay, my first job. So, do you mean my first job in IT or first
Yep,
job?
first job in IT. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So my first job as a developer here was, and I say this a lot, right? Getting a job or getting a position is also about advertising, as it is with many other professions.
With
So
everyone. Yep.
with everyone, yes. So I had been applying for a lot of IT jobs, but because I was new in Australia, and so I wasn't getting any callbacks. So I it's not, I wouldn't say that I gave hope or anything, but I knew that I need a different approach to make people notice me. So I was giving a presentation once, um, of this idea that I had in front of a few people in Monash. And one of the judges, and I was really impressed with my presentation because I'd put effort in it. So I was a bit confident about that. So a judge after the presentation came up to me and said, "Do you need a job?" I was like,
Wow.
"Yes, of
How
course I need a
cool.
job. I need a job. Um, what do you do?" I develop, and I need a job as a developer. And he said, "I have an IT company. Yeah, you can come join me from next week." And I was like, "Yes."
Yay.
So yeah, I joined as a developer, and even though I had been in IT for a long time, and this is for anyone out there who's getting trying to get into IT. Your first job, it's a bit of a learning curve because your personal projects and what you've been developing so far is nothing to what industry wants. Like, every company has a different culture and like a whole different can of worms that you have to solve. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Theory and practice are very different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So from there, you move to something else and something else to where you
Yeah.
are today.
Yes. So from there, I got a promotion twice there, and I ended up managing a team of 16 developers, uh, which is which is a lot of developers for one person to manage. Um, and from there, I realized that for the last 2 years, I'd been doing management, and my passion for IT was calling for me. So I quit that job and I found another place where I could be more engineering focused. And yeah, so that's that, and now I'm in full stack engineering. So that's how I got here.
Okay. Um, so now tell me about what you're doing. Tell me
Huh.
about this entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So um, I'll tell you the context behind it first.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. How did the idea come up? I mean, what was that light bulb moment that you had?
Yeah. So growing up, I was really close to my nana and nani, nana ji and
Yep.
nani, and I loved them.
Yeah.
My nana ji passed away 8 years ago, and I remember I was there at the time. He had a fall in the bathroom, like he fell in the bathroom, and his health was downhill from there. So I was always scared that something like that would happen to my nani, and that was actually my worst nightmare. So a few years back, my nani was living alone in Hazaribagh, again, that the small town that I was born
Yes.
in. Um, and I gave her a call in the morning, and she didn't pick up. And after 2 hours, I gave her another call, and she didn't pick up. I gave her another call, and she didn't pick up. So
So you panicked. Yes.
I called my mom, and she tried to get in touch, and she like we couldn't get in touch. So yeah, in that moment I panicked. I felt really helpless, and I was thinking that I am a software engineer in the healthcare sector, and I can't figure out if my nanny is fine right now or not. I should be leveraging technology better. And Well, later on, it turned out my mom called my neighbor, and the neighbor went and checked on my nanny, and it turned out she was fine. She left her phone in the cupboard, which is classic of her. But
Which is classic
that,
of lots of people.
yeah,
My phone is in my bag most of the time.
yeah, yeah, I understand. So, but that motivated me to act on an issue that I already knew existed. I worked with nurses and doctors, and I knew that this is something that a lot of people are worried about. A lot of loved ones out there are worrying every day if their parents are okay, if they're taking their medications on time, or if they have some kind of health issue and it's going unnoticed. So this was the motivation behind my company, Motion AI. And I created a product, created I created a device that detects emergency situations and long-term health issues in people. So in this case, it would have told me that my nanny, if I had installed at my nanny's house, it would have told me that she is fine. It would have told, and it would tell me if she has had a fall, then so I can react to the situation. It
Yep.
would it would have told me so like if her nurse isn't coming on time, it would have told me, and so I can check on a nurse and check if everything is okay. It would tell me if she goes to the toilet 3 times every day, and today she has gone to the toilet 7 times. That means I need to consult a doctor, and it would have told me that. So it basically, this technology is something that we have created to assist elderly people to live in their homes independently for longer, and also to assist carers to care for their loved one more efficiently.
So when you talk about this technology, is it in the shape of a camera? Is it in the what shape is it? How who detects it? Does a camera detect it? Do you have data stored? What happens?
Yeah. So this device sits on the top right corner of the room. It's basically a
So is it
smart.
on the ceiling? Sorry, is it on the ceiling?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not on the ceiling, but it's in the corner. Basically, as much high as you can put it, and
Yep.
it's basically a smart camera. And I really want to emphasize, it's not a normal camera. It's a smart camera that tries to understand your posture, whether you're sitting or you've fallen or you're moving, using machine learning. And if it detects anything, only then the data is sent over the network. And by data, I just mean a string of a text just
Yep.
saying call has happened at this time. And only that is sent over the network and to notify their next of kin.
Of
So
course.
I want to be very clear. There is no image or there is no video recorded anywhere. No one is seeing it. No one can see it.
Yep. So if say my nanny is in a nursing home,
Yeah.
okay, and I have your technology installed. So I'm just going to the smartphone installed.
Yeah.
Um, so will the data come to me, or if say she's gone to the toilet 7 times instead of 3 times that she would go normally in a day? And this is just an example. Young, older women, older people, elderly people go to the toilet
Yeah.
many times. But this is just an example. So
Exactly.
instead of going 3 times between say 7 and 10, she has gone 8 times between 7 and 10, and she is um, in a nursing home. So will
Yeah.
the data, obviously the cameras picked it up and is sending the data. So is the data being sent to the nurse on duty or the carer on duty, or is it going to be sent to me as the next of kin?
Yeah, so that depends on whether a product is purchased by you, who's the primary carer that
Okay.
you've
Yep.
put to our system. So we have made it so our application is very configurable. So if you want that data to go to someone else, it will go to
Yep.
someone else.
Sure.
Um, yeah, so in this case, if you want to know what is going on, and just you personally, and it's not the nursing home in overall who has installed our product, then
Yep.
yes, our data will go to you, and you will know immediately that your nanny has gone to the bathroom 7 times a day. So
Yep.
I think you should check. You should check with a doctor with what's going on. Yeah.
Sure. So, are you planning to? So, when are you launching this product?
So we have completed the MVP. We have a few trial clients who we want to trial it out first. So I think beginning of next year we should have all of this installed in some of the trial clients' homes.
Okay. So, along with my question, there is another question from Ayantika. I'll just read. Yeah. How do I install the product? And going with that, is it difficult?
No, actually, not at all. So we have tried our best to make it as easy as possible. So you just have to take the product out of its cover, and with command tape that we will provide,
Yep.
uh, stick it on the top of the room, and all it really needs is a power cord coming and attach. Well, it needs a source of power
Yep.
basically,
Yep.
and that's about it.
And is
Yeah.
it going to be available in Australia?
Yeah.
Australia wide? Are you? Yep. What about
Yeah.
India?
Yeah. Well, we haven't done any advertisement or any kind of launch
Yep.
in India, but that is my goal. That is what I
Okay.
created it for.
Sure. I understand. Um, you've told me how it's going to help the community because, what are the long-term plans, Ash?
So we definitely want to. So this product, even though I'm coming from an elderly perspective, because that was the first test environment that we wanted to deploy it in. I would like to expand it to disability and post-acute care, especially because people come back from hospitals and they are still not like they still need a little bit of support and monitoring. So it can be installed in those places as well. So that will be our next target, next focus after elderly. And we want to expand to many other countries. Um, so yeah, that would be our long term plan. But saying that, if anyone who is listening to me and thinks that this project is something that they're interested in, and even though they don't have any technical knowledge, I would really appreciate it if you got in touch with me. It doesn't matter if you don't have technical knowledge. And especially if you're older, I would love to hear from anyone who's caring for someone or who is old themselves. Yeah, I would love to know more perspective. And if you're a woman and you want to get into engineering, I will personally mentor you.
Thank you. That is awesome. So, I'm going to go out of technology and talk something personal now.
Yeah.
One of the things that when we met, you talked to me is about how important self-confidence is, how important it is for parents to support their children, because you personally have gone through all of that. Do you want to
Yeah.
share that with parents who are listening and how important it is to support their children?
Yeah. So I personally have uh, well, I wouldn't say I only had. I still have a lot of self-confidence issue, and all of them stem from your childhood. Your childhood is the foundation that you build upon, right? So everything that you go through as a child bruises your confidence little by little, and that stays with you forever. And even though you grow out of it eventually, every now and then it will come out. So any parents who are listening to me out there, don't beat your child, don't tell them that they're stupid, don't compare them with other kids. Just give them love, understand them, and try to know them as a person. And if they're different, try to see how their abilities can work for them instead of trying to shape everyone in the same mold, trying to push everyone in the same mold.
And again, not everyone is going to be a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yep.
Or an IT professional.
Yep, yeah, all of us are professionals, and many of us are late bloomers, and that is the reality of life.
Yeah, yeah,
And there are so many ways to get to where parents expect their children to be.
yeah,
I know I was asked when I came here whether my daughter Samira was a doctor, and they were aghast when I said she's not interested. So how can Indian parent, and it's all over Asia, unless you're a doctor or you're something like you're nothing. And this stems from what we are brought up from our childhood. This is like you have to sit for this exam to clear your medical, that exam to clear your engineering, that exam, CA exam. But in today's world, there are so many other opportunities and avenues, and especially if you live in Australia, oh my God, the sky is the limit, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. That is one of the reasons why I came to Australia.
Yeah.
You can be anything. You're in a
Yep.
different country and you don't know anyone and there's no expectations. You can be anything.
And
And
as
I
long
want,
as you work, yes,
as long as you work. And I want other people to feel that no matter where they are, you can be anything, be it a
absolutely.
carpenter or a network engineer or a doctor if
Oh,
you want.
yes, and an engineer.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to say something else? Do you want to share something else? Because this has been a great, great chat.
Yeah, it's been really great talking to you.
Thank you.
Uh, I I last thing I would say is look, because this is about IT and I'm all about technology. Anyone out there who's looking to get into IT, you should know that companies right now are looking for more diversity. So if you think that you are a minority or of any kind, this is the right time to apply, because all the companies are focusing on having different perspective that and focusing on people who are learning, who want to learn. So if you come in with that attitude, you will get into IT.
I'm sure, and I can't wait to see your product. But
I can't wait to show you.
thanks, Ash. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
okay, all the best. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.